take a seat, and welcome to the sit down.
All right, well, welcome to the sit down, Tucson edition down here at the U of A, and Merry Christmas to those. End of the year now, coming up. Happy New Year's, Merry Christmas. Holiday season's kind of wrapping up. We got a good guest on here today for you. Mike Beardsley, head men's wheelchair basketball coach here at the University of Arizona, my coach. So we're going to hop into a lot of good stuff here today. Shout out first off to the football program, guys that we know. They're letting us use the facility here today. They're going to go down and play in the Holiday Bowl. We're recording just before the Holiday Bowl here. So hopefully by the time this drops, we can say we got a dub. But Beards, welcome to the sit down, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
That's a sweet hat.
Yeah. Got it for myself.
Beardsley's avid hat collector.
Yeah.
Top hats.
Yeah.
We might. This is another thing you should know, Beards, on the sit down. I have a magician behind the camera. Anna is everything visual. So I'm going to have you take a couple pictures of some of the hats you got, and then we'll flash them on the pod.
All right.
But we got, man.
The Surfing Bird Tulane hat.
The Tulane hat is incredible.
Yeah.
The Tennessee hat's nice.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Got the Miami hat with the stork and the...
That's a good one. The old school,
smoke.
The old school cane.
Yep. Love my hats.
That's
Love
good
my
stuff.
hats. Especially when they make the college football playoff and win.
Yeah, we need another dove here coming up. New Year's Eve against the Buckeyes, the Canes and the Buckeyes. Let's, man, Beards, for those that don't know, I didn't actually come down to the U of A to play wheelchair basketball. The story behind that is I got hurt end of 2019 and went back to school after in 2020, graduated in the spring of 21, and I was looking for just another avenue to compete. And so I started looking for adaptive athletics programs. The U of A comes up, and I was thinking adaptive track and field because I was really high injury level. I was like, man, these wheelchair basketball guys are gonna cook me. I didn't know the rules of wheelchair basketball, and so I came down here. I gave a guy by the name of Derek Brown a call, and I said I wanted to come and do adaptive track and field. And I remember DB, who I want to get into your relationship with DB a little bit.
Yeah.
But
love that guy.
DB, he told me, well, I got no money for you. I said, okay, that's all right. I can find scholarship money. He said, but if you bring your own chair, we can let you on the team. I said, all right, so I'll bring my racing chair. I ain't gonna get no money, but I got a spot if I come. Yeah, yep, that's fine. And I said, all right, that sounds good. And he said, are you looking at going anywhere else? I said, well, I'm thinking about going to like Penn State. They had a new director or something at the time, and he said I could do any sport. And he said, oh, okay, all right. And then I remember him closing. He said, well, just know at the U of A, we compete for championships. And I remember just thinking like, okay, all right, that's what he left. I remember calling Penn State, and they were like, rah, you can do anything you want. And at the end of the call, the guy was like, we are. And it was like an awkward silence. And I was like, Penn State? He's like, that's right. We are Penn State. I was like, it's kind of corny.
Interesting.
A little interesting recruiting method. But man, that was my first experience with Derek Brown. Came down here, my racing bike pretty much broke. I mean, like, my racing chair, excuse me. I couldn't get it right.
And you're a small guy, so.
Yeah, right. Super small guy. I'm a huge guy. I just didn't fit.
People that don't know, those chairs are, they're built for tiny people that don't weigh a lot.
Yeah. And so it just was not a good fit. I didn't know anything about it. I was just trying to jump into it. And so I was in the weight room lifting one day, and I still remember I was on the bench press. You walked in, and we had a little conversation. Do you remember anything from that conversation?
Yeah, a little bit. I remember a couple of guys telling me to talk to you, and Coach Brown telling me to stay away from you. But really just walked up to you just to make some conversation and fill you out. It wasn't really to recruit you. Obviously, it worked.
Yeah, he did work.
Yeah, and you were hitting those double 45s on both sides. So I was like, all right, this guy's an athlete.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it was just good conversation every time you were in the gym.
So Beards invited me. He's like, man, come check out a practice. And so I came, checked it out. Of course, you can't go check out a practice and then them not to say, oh, you want to hop in the chair? Oh, we got a chair that'll fit you. And so y'all threw me in Big Red.
Mhm.
I wish we had a picture of Big Red, but it's currently getting used over in the continent of Africa.
Yep. Some lucky soul over there.
Some lucky souls getting to push around Big Red. It's a big clunky wheelchair, and got in Big Red. Man, I'm slow in a good wheelchair. I don't even know how slow I was that first day, but they made me feel pretty good. I was awful though, bad, and they made me feel good though. They invited me back for a second day. I think I came back, and after a few practices, they're like, "Hey, you want to just continue to practice with us?" And that was just kind of the start.
Yeah. I think for you, it was probably more like you were trying to stay in shape and everything while your
Right.
hand cycle was out. But yeah, you were slow. So first thing we had Hunter do is just go around the court twice, and that took a good chunk of practice.
Took a long time.
But and then just let you shoot around, and yeah, it was just letting you stay in shape. That was kind of the mindset at the time with no expectation.
So you're some of your fastest guys. First guy that comes to mind is Ben Thornton. Been a captain for 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah, I think 4 years.
Could be a 4-year captain. Unbelievable, great player. His fastest mile time is what?
Oh, right now him and Dylan are probably at like 5:16, 5:20.
Okay, so just over the 5-minute mark. I remember my first mile, I was at like 13, 14 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, so think about it. I was like literally 3 times slower than some of these guys. It's a transition, just pushing the chair when you've never pushed it before, and especially at my size, a lot of things that didn't help my speed. But man, you guys let me finish the season. We went to nationals that year. It was the first year of competing in the collegiate division. So let's get, for the people that don't know wheelchair basketball, let's just give them a breakdown of, the NWBA and how it's broken down with divisions, college, and where Arizona fit in that realm.
Yeah, so there's adult leagues that are Division 1, 2, and 3, 2 juniors divisions, a women's division, now there's military, and then the college division. The college division, we have rules to be, you have to have certain GPA, full-time student, all that good stuff, same as able-bodied teams would have over here. So 2019, when I took over, we were a hybrid program where we were half community members, half students. Pete, our director, decided we wanted to go full student right away, so we did that, and you get 5 years to be an emerging program. Like right now Michigan's an emerging program where they still can use community members, they just can't win a national title.
Sure.
You forfeit at nationals, but there's 12 teams total, everyone makes the national tournament. Rankings is basically a coach's rankings, and when we were coming in, COVID hit, so we didn't get to go our first year, but we were ranked 5th, and then year 2 our season got canceled because of COVID. So yeah, your year was year 3, first time in it, and we finished 5th, I believe.
Yep.
Which was, I think, good. We've never finished below 5th.
That's right.
That's actually the only season we haven't made the national championship.
That is pretty cool.
But it was a fun year and a fun group for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That first year, I'll never forget. We played. I think we played Illinois in the quarters.
We did. We
had a chance. Had a chance against them, but then we came back and won the next 2. And that was the 2022 season. Was that it? Yeah. Then
I think so.
Yeah, like spring of 22. So we had some momentum going into that next year, and we had, I think, everyone but one of our guys coming back. I think Big Carl, that was last year for him. So we knew going into the 23 season, 22-23 season, we were going to have a good squad and really good leadership. Guy that's playing for the Australian national team now, Phil Evans. Shout out, Mike, out in Perth, Australia out there.
Cheers.
Cheers, Mike. The Aussie, we had great leadership, him, Ty Griner, and then some just young studs. You got a recruiting class in here. That would have been kind of your COVID class, right?
Yeah, yeah. Technically was my first college class. So my first class, I got hired in the end of April because I took over for Coach Brown. We were talking about Coach Brown.
Yep.
And he didn't want people to know he was retiring. So and then the university would only hire me as an interim coach.
Okay.
So they were like, basically, you have a couple months to get a squad together, and we did it. But yeah, I would say the second class, which was Ben, Justin, Blaze, a couple other guys that were pretty good recruits. That was definitely the class that made us what we are.
Shifted the program.
They saw the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sold the vision. They bought into it, and so we had this young class that won a lot of games. We knew they were coming back. So that 23 year, we go undefeated in the college division. Go to the national tournament, win our first 2 games handedly, go into the national championship against Alabama, who has kind of been a dominant program in men's wheelchair basketball. And we ran into the National Player of the Year, puts a 40 piece on us.
Yep.
Lose by 5 points. I still remember we were up by 5 with like 4 minutes left. Missed some layups, missed some free throws. They don't, and that's the game. I still remember that. We were in Wisconsin. That is a heartbreaking feeling, having the season that we did, and then to come up short. What do you remember from that?
Yeah, I have a big change in my perspective over that game. Looking back at it, like you said, they had the National Player of the Year, and that guy was dominant. And we were young when you look at it. We were a really young team. Technically, I think we were starting 3 sophomores. And Phil was, our senior. So it was an interesting team, but we had to go through that for the program to be at where it's at to learn. I learned a lot from that game. I matured a lot from that game. And hats off to Alabama. They were the better team that day, and all year we battled with them, and it's great having those games. I'd rather have a game like that's a close loss than big blowout or us getting blown out as well. So I think looking back at it, it was what we needed at the time. We didn't realize it on the drive home.
No.
But
Man,
it was a rough couple weeks, but it definitely motivated us going forward.
So we lose the Natty the first year. Excuse me, my second year. But that first time we made it to the national championship game, we lose it. We come in the next year, redemption tour. All right, we're going to go redeem ourselves, go win it, have a great season again in 23-24. Number 1 seed going to the national tournament, win our first 2 games pretty handedly. This one's in Minnesota. And so this is my last year. I was at the U of A for 3 years. So first year we take 5th, second year we lose in the national championship. I knew this was my last year going into it. Beardsley tried to convince me to go get a doctorate degree. It is still on the table.
The clock's running out.
Technically, I think this might be my last year. I'd have to get enrolled pretty quick here for second semester. But
it could be done.
It could be done.
Kenneth Lofton going back to Louisiana Tech.
The state of college basketball is in disarray. But I mean, I knew it was my last year, and so going into that last year, I was fired up because we had pretty much everybody coming back.
Yeah.
And Dylan Xander, who is now an All-American, was emerging. Some good freshmen to fill some spots. Great shooters. Justin Newman, Ty Griner, Blaze, best defensive player in the country. And so we make it back to the national championship game. We play a great Whitewater team. And they had their starting 5 was really, really good. 3 All-Americans on that team.
Yeah.
Paralympians on that team.
Yep.
But we had played them one time before. We had won in a close one. So we knew it was going to be a dogfight. And very similar game in the sense that tight all the way. I think we were up by 3 with maybe 3 minutes left, some along those lines. And then kind of the same thing happened. We missed a couple shots, they made them. We missed a couple free throws, they made them. And I think we ended up losing by, was it 7? I think something like that.
After the foul.
After the free throws and the fouls at the end. And as we're coming off the court and rolling off the court, my mom actually snapped a picture, and we'll flash it up for you guys right here. But there's this picture of me like hanging my head, and I remember in that moment thinking like, man, I failed. Like I came here from that first conversation with DB when he said at Arizona we compete for championships, and all in my head I was thinking to myself like, I need to win a national championship. Like, I want to go and chase my grandpa. He won championships. Like, I want to win a championship. And as I'm rolling off, I remember thinking, like, I failed. I didn't get there. And as I'm coming off the court, Beards, we'll flash this next picture. I see this tunnel formed all the way to the locker room. And with tears in my eyes, and I look up and I realize this tunnel is literally made up of all my family. The national tournament that year was played in Minnesota. And so I had tons of family and tons of friends that were able to come. And I looked around and all of them are cheering. It makes me emotional now. And in that moment, it clicked for me of like, man, the goal was the national championship, but that wasn't really the point. DB didn't say, when you come to Arizona, you win national championships. He said you compete for national championships. And the point is the people you get to do it with and the people you get to do it for and give yourself to. And in that moment, as I'm surrounded by my friends, my family, the guys that I've put a lot of time in with, that I love like brothers, it clicked for me like, you know what? It's really not about the trophy.
Right.
It's about that we were in the game.
Right.
We were competing. We were giving it our best. And you said like your view has changed on the losses. Man, I've always said you can learn a lot more in the losses than you ever do from the wins. That loss alone probably changed my perspective on competing in general in athletics. Of, yeah, it's great to have goals and compete, but man, the people are always the most important part of why you do it. Do you remember anything from that game? The second one?
Yeah, that one was tough, but like you said, you got to go through that stuff, and it's college basketball. Yep. Anybody who can be hot, on a given day can win it. 7-game series, who knows what happens. And just to give some people perspective too, the way our national tournament works is you can be playing the 3-4 game at 4 p.m. and then you got the national title game at 10 a.m. the next day. There's not a lot of time to really dive in on the team that you're going to be playing.
Right.
Whitewater had some upsets. So, it's tough to prepare for those teams and those programs. So you got to kind of just go with who you are in our sport. But I do remember, people being very upset that game, and, I was too. I was pretty upset with myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is at the end of the day, and like you said, it's who we're going with. We've had some great memories, and I think one great thing about our program is, everybody always tells me your program is so close. Your guys are so good. You're, they speak well. All of our parents are very engaged. It's a very family culture atmosphere that we've built. It kind of happened like that. It was a goal, but I'm happy it happened. And, if you look at our program, you look in the stands when we're not playing, our guys are always hanging out together.
Mm-hmm.
We're always as a group. Coaches are hanging out with the players. Players are coming over to me when I need some alone time, just to shoot the shit. And you look at other teams and it's spread out. And they're either really laser focused or whatever. But our team is very, very close, especially that group.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all, would say we're still friends. And I don't know, just looking at that. The other thing I want to say, is how you said chasing your grandpa. You got the academic All-American.
Mm-hmm.
And for me as a program builder and somebody who's doing this day to day. We have 18 academic All-Americans in 6 years.
It's incredible.
That's pretty impressive. And that's really what it's about. We've never been below a 3.0 GPA.
Right.
We lose some guys to grades, yeah. But also in the disability community, you don't know what you're getting out of somebody out of high school.
Right.
Some kids, unfortunately, teachers in high school pass them just because they have a disability,
Mm-hmm.
Not holding them accountable. So, what we try to do here is try to grow that, not only on the court, but hearing people tell me that you guys are just well-spoken sponsors always tell us, and you know how my program is. We show up in polos. We know who we're talking to. We respect, what donors give us and other parents and refs, tables, all that stuff. So I think that's the big picture. If you're coming here, you're really becoming a man.
Yep.
That's kind of the goal. And that's something that has changed big time for me too. Not putting so much pressure on the team on win national title, though I do think doing that gives you validation and credibility.
Yep. Right.
So it's finding that middle ground, which I think last year we found.
So then let's get into it. So you lose back-to-back national championships. We lose back-to-back national championships. And then you get rid of that senior class. Might have been addition by subtraction, getting rid of Hunter Pinky, freed up another spot.
Pushing people in the mile a little bit more.
Get rid of that slow mile time.
No one's under 9 minutes this year in the mile.
That's pretty good. I don't know if I could have ever broke 9. I think I was in that 9-minute mark. But man, you go back for a third time and you have a great season. You go to the national championship and you finally get over the hump. You guys win it last year. Let's flash a couple pictures of the celebration, and man, incredible feeling. You kind of get the monkey off your back a little bit, because it had to have been crawling up of like, man, am I ever going to get one? We have so much success. During my time in the 3 years, we won over 100 games in 3 years. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of winning. But we, like you said, the validation and the credibility of like, can we just finish it? Tell me about the moment that the buzzer goes off and you're national champions.
Yeah, so it was actually before that. So we just go back and watch that game. We lose the lead in the third quarter.
Okay.
So I think having those experiences of losing the lead in the national title, and I remember calling this timeout, and I got the guys together, and I was like, hey, it's now or never. Like, there's not another game. I coached that game a lot different than I did the previous 2 national titles. I think the first one I was really amped up, trying to get people going. The second one I was a little too relaxed. This one I found a good pulse, good middle ground with the program. But I called a timeout with 10 seconds to go, and we knew we were going to win. And I always knew I was going to do that. So just brought the team together and said, hey, let's celebrate. Like, this isn't going to ever happen again. We'll never win our first national title again. For me personally, I sat back and I just enjoyed watching them celebrate. For me, that was something that I wanted to see. I just didn't want a camera out. I didn't want to be running around. I didn't want to be talking to people. I wanted to see my guys happy. And especially the guys that have been here for a long time that really earned that national title. So that was kind of my perspective. So as you watch me, I'm just kind of clapping, enjoying myself. My wife Christina came, got a hug and a kiss, and then when we went in the locker room, I had my moment.
we got to flash a couple pictures from the locker room.
Yeah.
Let's get Beardsley with the cigar.
I wish.
You got I think we might have cracked one open. Had to.
Maybe.
Maybe national championship trophy.
One of these right here.
Yeah. Of course. One of the Alanis. That's of course what we drink. We're unofficially sponsored by Alani.
Yeah, Justin got me good. We came in the locker room and I kind of asked everybody that wasn't part of the process, including my wife, but people who weren't there day to day, I was like, we need a moment with the team. And we had a good moment together. And, a lot of emotions, a lot of good emotions. But Justin got me good. He's all, Coach, come, check this out. There's something wrong in the bathroom before we get going. There's like a leak. I walk in there, and that's where they hit me with the water, because Illinois is very, very adamant. No water on the carpet and all that. So that was just a cool moment with that team. And then I was probably in the locker room for like 2 hours. Just, I couldn't go out there. And then just going out there, I got really emotional because of that family atmosphere. A lot of the parents, just, the words and the just validation that they gave, me personally, I really needed it. But then you always have that, man, I wish someone like you could experience that.
Yeah.
It's something that you just can't can't explain, but there's a lot of people that went into that national title that weren't in that room
Right.
over the years. You know, you mentioned someone like Phil, you know, Coach Brown, you know, all those people had a big impact on where the program is today.
And now another good year, right? You guys, a lot of those guys coming back. Dylan Xander, Ben Thornton, Brandon Louis having a breakout year. Give us the 30-second rundown of what the team's looking like this year and what your expectations are going into the second half of the season.
Yeah, we'll find out. We haven't really been challenged yet. We're 16-1, but you know, we'll find out at UTA. We got Alabama, UTA. Those will be good games. So I think we'll know what we are there. I think this team is a momentum team.
Mm-hmm.
We're either really hot or we're really cold. But it's a really fun group. You know, they listen to me, which is fun. But, you know, it's just learning how guys tick, how to coach them. I think we figured that out first semester. So going in the second semester, I think we can really work on making adjustments and, you know, growing people's games.
Hosting the national tournament this year. First time ever that Arizona's going to host the national tournament. What are you excited about?
Well, being a Tucson guy, getting to play on the McHale court,
yeah,
and in that building is a big deal. So, you know, we are emphasizing how big of a deal it is, you know, in the building. So I would say that's probably the coolest thing, being able to play on that stage in front of friends and family. Something else would be, you know, we really hope that the Tucson community shows out. When McHale's rocking,
It's a tough place to play, man.
It's a cool environment, and we're hoping the Tucson community comes out and maybe we get some momentum swings. You know, that would be ideal. But you know, the flip side of that is how do we prepare? We're used to being on the road. You know, we're used to going to lunch. We're used to sleeping in a hotel. No distractions, no family around, no, you know, friends. There's not, you know, the bar down the street. You know, you don't got your girlfriend around.
Right.
So that's a lot of things that I think, you know, conversation needs to be had and some thought needs to go into it. But yeah, I'm excited.
Just a quick break, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you haven't followed us on Spotify, it doesn't cost you anything. Take 5 seconds, like the page, give this a share, a follow. That would help us out. I know I say it every episode, but based on the analytics, not all you guys are following or subscribed. So please check if you can subscribe, follow, and help us out. So Beards, man, you had a great 3-year run here. Obviously want to finish it the right way in McHale, see if we can go get a back-to-back. But I want to take a little rewind. And you said that you're a Tucson native. Grew up in T-Town, went to the U of A. And then how did you end up in wheelchair basketball?
Yeah, it's a interesting story, I guess. So yeah, in 2009, that's when I was a freshman. And I put myself through college, so I really needed a job, stayed living at home with my parents. Then I got sick of my mom dropping me off on Highland every morning, you know, picking me up after school. So I needed a car. You know, back then you could get like a Civic, you know, the used one for like $1,000. But I couldn't get a job, man. I applied everywhere. My grandma works at the cancer center. Nanny, shout out Nanny, and she loves this guy right here, calls him Baby Thor. But the lady who was the program coordinator before, she had breast cancer. So they got to chatting there. Well, it turns out they were neighbors back in the 70s, and she used to babysit my mom. So U of A approved her to have like a 4-hour-a-week assistant to help out. So she hired me. So that was my in to adaptive sports, and never thought it would take me where it took me. But 4 hours turned into 8, turned into 20. And then I graduated, went into nutrition, and I hated working in the hospital. I hated being in an office. And, you know, Dave, HC, the old director, called me up and was like, we got a job for you. It's going to be a pay cut. You're going to be half assistant basketball coach, half fundraiser, and you're probably going to work overtime in the shop and the gym.
That's every man's dream.
Yeah. I was like, sign me up. Let's go. Let's do it. did it, and I was a Coach Brown's assistant coach for 7 years officially. And the guys would always tell me, you're going to be the next head coach. I was like, nah, I'm just, this is a stepping stone, whatever. Wasn't sure what I was going to do. And then I just fell in love with basketball, with wheelchair basketball. The community is just, it's unreal. It's very unique, the mixture of people that you get. But it's a very close community as well, one that I'm lucky to be a part of.
Let's just take a second. Coach Brown, he was really the guy that kind of laid the foundation for Arizona wheelchair basketball. Then you really elevated and made it what it is. But what did you take most from your time as an assistant coach under Coach Brown, stuff that you learned along the way?
Yeah, so my first day, Coach was like, don't help anybody up. Don't help anybody at all. And if you know him, he's a pretty intense guy. So, don't help anybody at all unless, they really need it or I tell you. So that was like number one. I was like, all right. And then he just put a lot on me, had a lot of expectations. Hey, you got to be 15 minutes early. These are the expectations. Cones need to be out. This needs to be set up. I don't want to have to ask you again. So stuff like that, came easy for me. There's stuff I've taken from him, encore wise, little tricks, in a huddle, how to read a guy before a game. Sometimes you can tell if a guy's on or off, and then there's other stuff too that, I don't do personally, but every coach has to be their own person. My first year, we started off really bad because I was trying to be Derek Brown. And it's not me. It's just, it wasn't me. It wasn't authentic. So it didn't work. And something I could always give him praise for is he was always himself. No matter,
That is true.
People agreed on it or not, because and he had a lot of success. We won 25 games every year since 1996, every single year. And this is playing against Paralympians and adults and teams that have continuity for 10, 12, 13 years. And we're getting new guys in and out every
Right.
3-4 years. So, just take a lot of what I want to do, what I don't want to do, how I want to build my program. But he's also been there, as a mentor. Could call him up right now and, he would give me his advice and, however I'd take it. But, he's always there to hand it out. So he also, started the women's program here, which there's only 5 women's teams, or 6, I think, now this year in the college division. So, he doesn't really get credit for that either. But yeah, I would just say altogether, just you got to be who you are as a coach. And that's something big that he taught.
Man, wheelchair basketball, for those that don't know, and I was one of those people that didn't know the game, wheelchair basketball is really unique in the sense of how it allows different disabilities. Like Beardsley was saying, there's so many different types. You got a guy with spina bifida, guy with, cerebral palsy, spinal cord injury like myself, maybe a lower leg amputee, tons of different functioning levels. And the point system allows different function levels to all be on the court and compete. And for those that aren't familiar with wheelchair basketball, can you just describe a little bit the point system and how that works?
Yeah, so in the college division, it's 14 points. You can add it up. 4.5 is the most function. That would be, someone who's able-bodied or below the knee amp. But basically, you got the most function in your core and your hips. To a 1.0 is you, where you don't have as much function. You're really just using your arms. You can't move your chair with your hips. Even though I've seen you dance and you can.
I can move them a little bit.
But,
Hey, so like you would be a 4.5,
Yeah.
I'd be a 1. And then, there's people in the middle too of varying functions. So 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, all the way to 4.5. And so then like 4.5 and 1, now we're together, we're a 5.5. So how many points did you say in the college division?
14 total.
14. So take 14 minus 5.5, you're at 8.5 points left for the other 3 guys on the court. So you kind of have to play with lineups a little bit based on function level.
Yeah, and then, another big thing is foul trouble. Like if you don't have enough ones, your 1 fouls out, then you can't run a legal lineup. You forfeit the game, or you got to play 4-on-5. But yeah, typically your best 5 aren't on the court all at the same time.
Right.
In wheelchair ball. And typically the classifications have kind of set skills, what they can do physically. 4-5 sit higher, so they're kind of the bigs, can shoot inside. We use our ones a little bit different here at Arizona than everyone else, but typically ones are kind of the grinders, the do-it-all kind of dudes. And then everybody in between kind of, it depends. So it's very unique, but I also think, club sports and adult sports, recreation should take a page out of it. Instead of doing like a 45 and up league, you can do classifications and stuff like that to make it a little bit more fun, implementing, people with disabilities, people with able bodies to get, more recreational style. I think like pickleball does a great job of doing that. So I think people should watch it and really take stuff from it and can implement it into their own life. Or, if you're coaching a team of youth and you have different skill levels, maybe do it yourself, to kind of implement that and make it a little bit more competitive.
That's a great point. I think one of my favorite parts of adaptive athletics is exactly what you're talking about, is that, man, I'm a high spinal cord injury. I'm a chest down. I have very little function outside of my shoulders and arms. And yet I got to go be on the court with, guys that are All-Americans, competing with USA across their shirt. I got to be on the same court as, wheelchair basketball legends. Brian and Steve and all those guys that, I watched go win a gold medal. And here I am, like, I can barely get around the court 2 times, that was really cool for me, in that it didn't matter what your function level was based on the rules and the structure of it. Like, I had an opportunity and I could find a role. I always laugh. People, well, how many points? That's always the question you get asked. How many points did you score in college? Mm-hmm. I think maybe I averaged 1.5 my senior year, like maybe. And that was probably from my outburst against Eastern Washington. Can we show some clips from that Eastern Washington game? Golly, look, for those that are watching on video right now, look at that jumper. Woo-wee, that little elbow jumper.
Just a little baseline.
Just a little baseline, a little fadeaway on Jake. Can we get that clip on there too? Jake, if you're taking a listen, I'm going to hold that one over your head all my life. But man, you do find a role. Like, I wasn't going to score. I had Justin Newman, I had Ben Thornton, Zillan Zander, Blaze, all these guys that could shoot the ball and get a bucket. Don't turn the ball over. Try not to get burned on defense. Man, that was just kind of my role. And then lead, right? Keep guys' spirits up, keep our direction in the right path. So, I really
don't realize how hard it is to score.
It's tough.
15 points.
It's tough, man, in a chair. Yeah. The toughest part for me was the ball handling and movement aspect. The shooting, you kind of get used to a little bit more. But man, the ball handling, the rule for ball handling is you get a dribble and then you get 2 pushes. So 1, 2, you got to dribble again. And let's throw in maybe some clips of guys just dribbling in the chair. You kind of can throw it up ahead and catch up to it. There's different ways to dribble. That's just the movement. Would you say that that's probably the toughest part for guys?
Yeah. You got 2 hands on the ball and your body's moving that way and you're trying to pass it that way. Yeah. So you got to be very cognizant of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I'd say the other thing is composure. Yeah. That's probably the hardest thing when you're dribbling and you got to hold the ball and you got these giants, going over you and you can't jump and there's no horizontal or vertical movement. It's kind of counterintuitive to what you learn in able-bodied ball. Yeah. Where you're like, you got to create contact, and in wheelchair ball, you got to create separation.
Mm-hmm. Totally different. Man, speaking of like the different athletes that you use, the different skills that are needed in the game, man, when you're putting a team together, what are you looking for in a recruit? So if there's a young person listening right now that's like, man, I want to play, college ball, what would you tell them, and what are you looking for when you go to a game and are watching?
Yeah, well, you got to want it. That's kind of the biggest thing. Ball is life until ball is life. Mm-hmm. And then it's tough. You got to want to wake up at 6 a.m. every day and, get yelled at. Yep. And get someone pushing you to be better, and back-to-back road trips and playing 5 games in a weekend, all that stuff. The thing with our sport is we don't know who we're getting. Our varsity division, maybe you're getting a team that practices once a week in season because their program is also trying to promote track or they're trying to promote rugby or whatever. So you get a kid, if you really think about it, maybe every year they're getting in 25 practices. So you come here and you're getting that in 3 weeks. So you got to really, really want to love basketball. And you get guys that do, and you get guys that come and they're like, you know what, it's not what I expected, or there's a lot of expectations. But it's really hard to evaluate what a kid's going to be. We'll use Dylan as an example. He was a walk-on. We did not anticipate him becoming what he can become. And he has a USA tryout coming up in 3 days. But he's now a captain 2-time. And last year had 25 points in the national title game. But that guy is outside the rec center 5:45 every morning. He stays at practice to shoot around 2 hours a day. Does an individual workout.
Lifting.
Eats right. Great grades. Does what he needs to do. Basketball-wise, on and off court, to achieve what he wants.
Now, I wish people could see Dylan when he came in. We were both there. Like, the guy couldn't catch a pass.
No,
he had brick hands.
We had to remove him from layup lines and
he couldn't catch a pass.
Throw the ball against the wall.
Yeah, and just catch the ball. And that dude, he outworked everybody.
Yeah,
and he just made himself into the player he is. So you got to love basketball. And what are the other essentials that you would say when you're putting a team together? What are you looking for team culture-wise that you want your guys to be about?
Yeah, well, I love personalities. So we we take some chances on some personalities, but big part of our recruiting is we actually let the recruits, go with the guys. And I ask for feedback from our team. Hey, are they going to fit in? Are you an Arizona guy? I hate to use that term, but are they going to fit in here? Are they going to fit in with the school? It's a tough school to be at. It's good academics, but there's a lot of distractions as well. Can they handle it? Can they handle, our assistant coach, Danny?
Tough.
That's a big one. Yeah. He's going to get the best out of you or you're going to quit. So all of that stuff kind of goes into play. What are the parents like? We like to have our parents involved here. And, we've already talked about our close-knit community. So I would say probably personality-wise is what we're really looking for.
Yep.
Traits-wise, obviously you want a guy with, big hands and long arms.
6'8" wingspan, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he saw me, he said, I need that player.
Yeah. If we would have had you 5 years, you probably could have done something.
Back in the day.
Could have done something with your life.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe
outside of this.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's just, we're just really looking for people to fit. And then you got to go off of classification. What do you have? What is your roster projected to look like? Maybe you lose somebody. Maybe somebody gets a classification you weren't anticipating. So there's a lot that goes into it that it's just, you kind of rolling with the punches as it goes.
Yeah, I hope people hear that in that, man, your skills, like if you can shoot a 3-pointer or not, that's not the big deal. Like, you can develop skills. Dylan Xander is a perfect example of that. There's countless people throughout time. Man, your skills can be developed. Is like, man, what's your character like? Like, who are you as a person? That's what the head coach of the national championship team just said. Like, I'm looking for the guy first. Do you fit with our guys, our culture here? We can train skills, but you're not going to train character. We're going to reveal character. And it's going to get built, but man, we got to have the building blocks in place first. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. And another big part of our program is mentorship. Yeah. And I think that's something you really helped bring out. And now, Ben does that and Dylan does that, but leadership goes a long way. And the great teams, the leaders on the team bring that out. The coach doesn't have to. And it's real easy to coach. Like this year's team, for example, we have some big recruits. They look over and they see Ben and they see Dylan going 100% on mediocre drills or, low level fundamental drills. You can't help, but you have to also.
Right.
You have to, or you get left behind. And you get guys who get left behind and lapped. And, I always say there's someone coming for your spot.
Always.
They might not even be alive right now.
Yeah.
At some point in your life, at some point, in your career, whether it's basketball, whatever, someone's coming for your spot.
I think with leadership, I get asked the question often, how do I connect with guys? How do I get them to follow me? And what I tried to emulate when I was on a team here at Arizona, but really it's in life, is if you want guys to follow you when times are hard, you got to serve them first. Like, man, if you're not cleaning up after them a little bit, if you're not inviting them over to your house on a weekend to hang out, if you're not giving them a ride, if you have the ability to give them a ride, like, you first got to get them to trust you so that when the moment is hard and you're challenging them and trying to bring them up with you, they trust you in that moment when it's hard. And man, I always tell people, you got to serve them first, love them first, serve them and love them first, and then you can challenge them later. And I think that's just essential. Any good teams are player-led teams. The coach 100% sets the standard, but man, if your guys at the top aren't leading, you're never going to reach your full potential. So I think you've done a great job setting the standard, but you also brought in some guys that have established that.
And you got to be authentic. You got to be
man.
authentic. You can't fake it. And it's something, shout out to you, that you do. And I've texted your mom this, but she did a great job raising you, and your dad as well. And so that comes organically for you.
Yeah.
And when that happens, it teaches someone who it might not come organically for how to do that, or hey, maybe that is the right thing to do.
Right.
So that goes back to our parents and how we're raised, and shout out to them for that.
Authenticity wins, man. Almost always authenticity wins. Let's let's wrap up. We could probably talk ball here for the next couple of hours. College football playoff. One thing about Beers and I is, we had a good coach-player relationship. I think we respected that. But when we got off the court post me playing, it immediately turned into a friendship.
Yeah.
We could talk ball all the time. But one thing that a lot of people don't know about you, you're a big reader. You and I, we both like to read. So my question is, 2025 wrapped up here, what is your favorite read of 2025? And then piggybacking off that, what is the one that you're most looking forward to here in 2026?
Yeah, so I read Pete Carroll's book this year. I liked it a lot, resonated with me a lot. Took some things from it. This next read I have, and I don't know if I'll get to it this semester because I'm back in grad school. So my reading is kind of that.
Okay.
But the book I have on next is Swagger by Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
So that's going to be kind of the next one.
Dallas Cowboys swagger coming back to the U of
I'm a
A.
Washington NFL fan.
Yep.
But got to respect what he did, and, just interested to see, I feel like there's a lot that our program in the 90s Cowboys can kind of relate to.
Sure.
So we'll see what we get out of that one.
That is awesome. I never thought of that, but that's a great comparison. The U of A, I'll just go out and say it. Not many people like us. That's all right. And we do got a little swagger down here in the desert, so
yeah, you got to.
You got to. I love it. Being a U of A, we're both U of A sports fans. I want to close out with this, and then we'll get into something good and get you guys on your way. But I want to talk a little bit about U of A legends. Let's honor the legends that came before us. I want to talk a little bit, number one, on the wheelchair side, and then also in the NCAA able body side. So give me your Mount Rushmore of U of A wheelchair basketball players. And just remember whose podcast you're on.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Give me your top four, all time. This is no disrespect for those that don't make it, but in your mind, who's on your Mount Rushmore wheelchair basketball here at the U of A?
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard. It's really, really hard. I think you have to have Tyrone Griner on there. He was here the longest. He led us a lot of ways. Probably the leading scorer all time. And then after that, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. It's what do you want? What are you looking at? All that stuff. Only player of the year we've ever had is Justin Newman. So I think just off of merit, you got to put that guy on there.
But he's going to love to hear that.
And then,
his response to that? His response is going to be, I can't believe I wasn't number one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, definitely, and that's what makes that guy great.
Yeah.
And then it's Phil, Ben, Blaze, Dylan.
Yeah.
You got Marcus Oden from back in the day.
Yeah.
Um,
Go.
there's a lot of guys. A lot of people don't know our first Paralympian, Mike Schlappy, was in the 1980s. He won a gold medal. And he ended up coaching Utah Rolling Jazz, starting that program,
Mm-hmm.
and does great work up there. Is now retired, but guys that we didn't even see.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know on that. We might got to make the Mount Rushmore a little bit bigger. Yeah.
Some good names there, man. Some guys that really changed the program forever. And
Yeah.
I will say I played with a lot of those guys. Dylan and I were tight. By the time that Dylan is done here at the U of A,
He'll be on there.
he'll be on there. So
Yeah.
he's probably embarrassed. He'd be like, why were you guys talking about me on the pod, man? That's crazy. But he's one of the best just because he started like at the bottom, and he's a testament of what it's all about.
Yeah.
Making a name for yourself. So shout out to Dill. But now let's get into some of the dogs. I mean, you've been watching the U of A forever.
Nope.
I knew of the U of A because Lute Olson
Yeah.
is from North Dakota.
Great book too, by the way.
Great book. You put me on that book, and awesome story, awesome man, everything about it. But man, the U of A in North Dakota, there's some ties because everyone cheered for Lute. So who in your mind, we're going all sports here, so this is going to be hard. Even basketball alone would be hard, but
Yeah.
all time, like growing up, who are your guys and ladies that you looked at were like, man?
Yeah. So we'll take off before like 1996. Probably don't got a lot of recollection.
Okay, all right.
We got to put someone on from the 97 team. And for me, he wasn't the best player on that team, but Jason Terry for me was.
The Jet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The kissing the socks after every three of McHale, kissing the court. Got to put that dude on there for sure.
Yep.
And he bleeds red and blue. So we got that. And then football, it's tough. Football's tough.
Teddy?
Teddy's a baller. It might be Teddy.
Okay.
If we're looking at athletics. When I was here, Foles was real big for our program here. Set a lot of records and had a lot of good seasons. And then you got guys like Antoine Cason, one of the best DBs ever, Hall of Fame. So we'll say Teddy for football.
Okay. All right.
And then after that, I mean, I don't even know the people who are, you got Jim Furyk for golf.
Yep.
Let's throw him in there.
Boy, that's a pull.
If we could get a nice
Unreal.
little round here and there.
Yeah. Hey, Jim, if you're listening,
Right. So, yeah, there's one.
hey, you got one spot left. It's tough.
One spot. You mentioned Tito earlier. That's pretty big.
I'm going to throw two names out here for you. The softball program at the U of A is one of the best, and Coach Candrea has been very kind to myself and the program. What he built, 6 national championships, like Jenny Finch.
Jenny Finch, let's put her on.
Probably the best softball player of all time.
Put her on.
Yeah, so Jenny Finch is up there. We're leaving off Terry Francona, World Series winning manager, legend here at the U of A. Like, there's just been so many great athletes. The culture of winning down here, as Coach, DB said, when you come to Arizona, you compete for championships. That's in everything. So,
Yep.
man, some legends here at the U of A. Richard Jefferson,
Mike Bibby.
Mike Bibby. I mean, just go down the line.
Gronk.
Rob Gronkowski, greatest tight end of all time. So yeah, man, I loved getting to come down here and just watch ball. It didn't matter what athletic you're gonna see success. All right, man, Garrett, you got anything in the bag? Garrett's just been snacking on some Pop-Tarts in the bag. You got any questions for Beardsley?
Favorite memory of Hunter?
Woo!
Oh man, we got too many.
Top 5 memories of Hunter probably can't say. So we'll go from there. I'd say when I think of Hunter, I think of a really good friend who I know I can call and count on. And if anybody else, needs some advice or anything, I know that's a good guy that I can put him to. So I would say, basketball wise is definitely his mentorship and leadership. We had a lot of moments with some guys that we had some hot heads where I looked over and just eye contact. He already knew what I needed, and appreciate that, whether it was on or off court. And, we had some great meetings, some coaches and captains meetings that, would go on for some hours. I would say those are some great moments together.
I do remember one thing, the drive back from Southwest, our last year, the Morgan Wallen album came out.
That was, yeah.
We listened to the entire album for like 3 straight hours.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, this is a good one.
Banger.
Yeah.
Bang. Good on board, Albert. Bang.
One after the other. That was fun, man. Yeah, we got too many memories. Most of them we're not going to share here on the pod, but
still developing them too.
Still developing. We got a lot more years. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Tell me something good, Garrett. You want to start? And then we'll go Beardsley. I'll wrap it up.
The original strawberry Pop-Tart.
Dude, you are so in the moment. It's crazy. The guy just got done hammering one. The original strawberry Pop-Tart and a flash of this. Dude, life with Garrett. It's just whatever's on the top of his head. Bang, strawberry Pop-Tart. Got it. Go eat a Pop-Tart here tonight. Beards, tell me something good, brother.
For me, I'm just going to go life right now. Good place.
Yeah.
Grad school, 4.0. Just purchased a house. Got a great family. So just everything right now going great.
That's dope. Beardsley's got I really got to watch your son grow up.
Yeah,
because I mean he's a part of the program. He'd sometimes be you'd have barbecues, he'd sometimes come to practice, all these things.
He's a real man.
East man is the real man. So that's dope seeing you, and really success is finding you. So that's dope. Man, tell me something good here today. Here's something about Tucson not many people know, is that we're surrounded by 5 mountain ranges. And after we're done recording here, Garrett, Anna, my now fiance, which is pretty cool, put a ring on it.
The sourdough queen,
Miss Mercedes. We're all going to go up to Mount Lemmon. And Mount Lemmon, not many people know that Mount Lemmon is what it is. But it's like a 10,000 foot mountain, right? Looking over Tucson. It is beautiful. Let's flash a couple pictures of the drive up to Mount Lemmon. It's amazing. You feel like you're in Montana or Colorado.
We got pines here too.
Yeah, we got pines down here in Tucson. So there is a ski resort. There's not much snow right there right now, but the joke is that in the wintertime, you could go ski in the morning, come down and sit by the pool in the afternoon. Not many places in the world that you can do that. So shout out to Mount Lemmon. That's my something good. I'm going to enjoy the day here today. We're recording, and it is New Year's Eve. This will get released next week, but Happy New Year to everybody. Man, 2026, if I got one word for 2026, it's not even one word. I say one word, but life-changing. I'm going to get married in 2026, start a family. It's going to be a big year. I'm excited for it. But man, when it comes down to it, what you do in life is important. Where you do it, it's important, but it does not even come close to the importance of who you do it with and who you do it for. And one of the guys that I get to do life with, and I got to do it for a lot of years, was this guy right here. And I appreciate you as a friend. And man, I'm looking forward to doing more life.
You too, man.
Tear down, brother. All right. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for coming in on Sit Down.